ماشي. Lecture 7 and 8. Reports. How to write reports and papers. Introduction. A report is a presentation of facts and findings, usually as a basis for recommendation. Written for a specific readership and probably intended to be kept as a record. When some people write a report, that's all they do, right? But the really successful writers only spend part of their times doing this, and then only toward the end. Before that, they are planning the report, thinking about its purpose and who is going to read it, deciding what to put in and fitting it into shape. And even when they are finally writing it, they will probably spend just as much time thinking about how best to present their ideas, as usually putting them onto paper. When you write a report, you have to make 6 stages: purpose, reader, materials, structure, style, presentation. Now we will explain every single stages. Number 1, defining the purpose. First, the purpose, the major aim, the reason why you are writing the report at all. This will determine what kind of report you write. Factual report. For example, it may be to inform when, say, there has been an accident or a new program of work. What's needed here is a factual report, a straightforward statement of the facts to give people an accurate record. Instructional report. Or it may be to explain, for example, when some change is introduced, like a revised appraisal system or a new job evaluation scheme. Here you write an instructional report, a step-by-step description to tell people about the new procedures. Leading report. Lastly, it may be to persuade when you are trying to sell your ideas. This kind is usually called a leading report because you are leading the reader towards making a decision, the one you want him or her to make. Once the major aim has been defined in this way, aims will fall into place. We inform in order to explain and inform and explain in order to persuade. And usually the result will be a leading report, which is often the most difficult to write because it has to motivate the reader to do something at the end. Identifying the reader. But who is the reader? What do we really know about them? Often they are just a dim and shadow figure in the mind. But we can usually get a clearer picture by asking 3 questions. What does the reader know? 2 common mistakes in report writing are to overestimate a reader's knowledge and blind them with science, or to underestimate and bore them to tears. We must always try to discover how much the reader knows already, so we can communicate at their level of knowledge. What are the reader's attitude? However good our ideas, they may get thrown out if we don't take account of this. The reader's special interest, likes and dislikes. The truth has many faces, and it's only sensible to feature the one most likely to appeal to them. What does the reader really want? The reader is rarely a passive recipient of our report, to be swayed this way and that by our arguments. We will need to find out just what their hopes and expectations are. Then we shall know what we are up against and can prepare our case. Sometimes it's difficult to answer this question, especially when writing for a varied readership. In such cases, aim for the important reader, the most important to you, but without offending others. Some are probably only on the distribution list anyway for reasons of prestige or because no one remembered to cross them off. Setting the objective. Matching the purpose to the reader, we are now ready to set our objective. In other words, what do we want the reader to think and do after reading our report? In example, to persuade the managing director to authorize a proposed system of flexible working hours. Notice the words to persuade and to authorize. They show that we must produce a logical and consistent case. One that will spur our reader to positive action. Also, once we have set the objective, we can usually anticipate the likely problems in meeting it. Knowledge. The managing director is a busy man and has never heard of flexible working hours. We need to give him example background information and define any technical terms as we go along. Attitude. Very important. Discipline and good time keeping. Discipline and good time keeping. We'll have to convince him that the scheme won't be a license for lateness, but that, on the contrary, timekeeping might actually improve. Wants. According to the grapevine, he is worried just now about rising costs, so we'll need to stress how flexible working hours would actually save him money, even if this means playing down other benefits. Arriving at an objective like this is the most important step in writing any report. Sometimes the process will even show that a report is not necessary at all, and that the objective can best be met in some other way, in which case you will have saved yourself a great deal of time and trouble. Selecting our material. Selecting our material. The two golden rules to follow when deciding what to put into a report are: simplify and justify. Simplify and be ruthless about it. Reject the irrelevant over the doubtful, and make sure you have got the essential. Avoid any doubtful. Justify your conclusion with facts and state their sources. Build the facts into a logical and consistent case so as to lead the reader to the same conclusion as your own. Planning the structure. The facts themselves should therefore be a set of directions which will lead and guide your reader along a route. This route has to be planned before you write your report. Perhaps as follows. Turn a large sheet of paper sideways and work across it. Work horizontally so that you can see the whole plan of your report at one time. First, divide it into major sections. Every subject can be broken down in this way, and the heading will probably become the headings in your report. Make a list under each heading of all the points you would like to mention. Note the information that you will need to support them. Now mark the most important points, the essential steps in your reasoning. Next, mark the least important ones, points your reader would find irrelevant. These you will probably reject. The points that remain the unmarked ones are the doubtfuls. Some you may want to use as examples or to include to the appendix, but some of these also you will reject. Lastly, arrange the point in a final logical sequence so as to meet your objective. Some people write them out on scraps of paper at this stage and shift them around until they get the order right. A plan like this will show you what information you will need for the body of the report and what should go in the appendices. Once written, you draw out your conclusion and add your recommendation. And last of all, you add your title page, summary content list, and introduction. These 8 items make up the conventional structure of a report dealt with in more detail below. Rules and guidelines. Rules and guidelines is very important in planning the structure. The following rules and guidelines relate to the conventional structure of a report. Some organizations lay down their own house style. Some organization has a style and rules for writing report, for the structure of writing report and papers. Title page. This normally carries the title, subtitle if any, date, author's name and position, and distribution list. It may also carry a reference number or those classification. Example, confidential. But don't overcrowd the page. A clear, simple layout is always the best. Summary, a necessity if the report is a long one. It gives busy people the chance of the report without the gist of the report without having to read it all, but if attractively written, it may whet their appetite and stimulate them to read the whole thing. Content list. The content list of short reports may be shown on the title page, or not at all. More extensive ones should always have a separate page listing the major section or chapter, subsections if any, an appendix and giving their page number. It should be laid out clearly so as to show the relation between them. Introduction. This gives the background to the report and shows why it was necessary. It usually states the objective of the report in formal terms, who called for it, and the scope and treatment. The shorter it is, the better. Body of the report. This contains your detailed facts and findings, shows how they were arrived at, and indicates the inferences to be drawn from them, all in accordance with your horizontal plan. Conclusions. Here you draw out the main points of your reports and present a considered judgment on them. Recommendation. Finally, set down any recommendation relating them clearly to what has gone before. In a good report, the reader is carried along by the argument so that by the time he reaches the end, he will need no further convincing. Appendices. Some reports need detailed supporting information or perhaps information that only some readers need. All this goes in the appendix. In some cases, you may also need to include biography and or reference. In some cases, you may also need to include biography or reference and reference. This lists either the books and articles consulted as a basis for the report, or those you want to suggest as further reading, or both. Make clear which they are. Glossary or nomenclature. This can be a help if your readers include non-experts as well as experts. This can be a help if your readers include non-experts as well as experts. When writing on a specialist subject for non-experts alone, define any technical terms as you go along. So, again, when you write a report, you have to make 6 stages. We talk about purpose, defining the purpose. The purpose is the measure aim, the reason why we are writing the report at all. And we have to follow some steps when we are defining the purpose. Number A, the factual report. Number B, the instructions report. Number C, the leading report. We move to the reader, and here we explain who is the reader and what do we really know about them. What does the reader know? What are the reader attitudes? And what does the reader really want? Setting the objective. Matching the purpose to the reader, we have to set our objective. In other words, what do we want the reader to think and do after reading our report. We have to notice the word to persuade and to authorize. They show that we must produce a logical and consistent case. There is some point we have very important when we are setting the object. The knowledge. We need to give him good background information and define any technical terms as we go along. Attitude, discipline and good timekeeping. Wants, we need to stress how flexible working hours would actually save him his money, even if this means playing down other bills. Selecting the materials, and there are two golden rules to follow when deciding what to put into a report. Simplify and justify your conclusion. Planning the structures, and when we are planning a structure we have to follow some rules and guidelines. The following rules and guidelines relate to the conventional structure of a report, but some organizations have their own style, house style. The rules include the title page, summary, content list, introduction, body of the report, conclusion, recommendation, appendices, biography, reference, glossary, in this lecture we learn the 4 stages: the purpose, the reader, the material, the structure. And now in the coming lecture number 8 we will explain the style and the presentation.